All right. So again, this is our March 15th, spring 23 monthly majors meeting. Professor Laney's here and Dr. Valdez is here. So we have some questions that came up that we want to cover. And for sure, we want to talk about the permit. A student wanted to talk about the CDTC and the stipend. And then we already talked about what are some other career choices that you can do with a degree or a foundation in child development, which is really exciting. Good. And at any time, hop in, jump in the chat, raise your hand, or just speak out loud. And so we can make sure that we're covering the bases for you. So like Yuri mentioned earlier, we have a core 8 classes for our district. And in the state of California, we are all aligned. So meaning if you took some classes online at the College of the Siskiyous or wherever, you are going to get the same classes. They might have different numbers and a little bit different names, but they all align together. So we're trying to get a lot of teachers with a high quality education standardized in their learning as they move forward to become preschool teachers or other careers. So here in at our SCCD at Santiago and Santa Ana, we have Child Development 107, which is the intro class. A few of you took that with me. 110 is Child Family Community, very, very important. A couple of you are taking that for me as well. Then we have Observation and Assessment. Dr. Suze is teaching that. Then we move to 111 A and B. That means that you are now focusing everything you've learned on the age of the child you want to study. So that is the main lane for the classes that involve preschool children. So 111A and 111B are for preschool children. And I'll show you what the options are afterwards. Then
after those classes,
say it again.
After those classes, yeah, until 298A, like, can you meet with the director to see if you get a certificate or not?
So hold on, let me finish the list and then I'll tell you what happens at the end. Good. Okay. So after you take your 111A and B, you can take the 112 and 221. A lot of times people say, okay, now I took 111 and B, I'm ready to graduate. No, we still need to make sure you have health, safety, nutrition, and teaching in a diverse society because our society is diverse, right? And then the last class per practicum, where we place you at a preschool under the guise of a master teacher so you can learn on the job. Then that's when you have all of your core 8 classes and then you apply for your permit through the state of California. We don't give the permits. We give the degrees that come with the classes. So the permit is through the state of California. And I also added this here, this little asterisk. I said all of our core 8 classes have free books, all of them. Right? That was one of our big pushes in the last few years, is to make sure that all of our child development majors or anybody who takes child development classes does not have to have a cost burden of a book, which is, I think that's a big deal because, you know, they're like $100 sometimes. We want to make sure that's cost effective for you. Do you want to jump in, Dr. Suze?
Oh, no, I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, good. I just wasn't sure because I have a couple different things. Then our specialty tracks. So if you say, no, I really just love the infant toddlers, more power to you. Instead of taking 111 A and B, you would take 116 A and B. And then if you say, no, I want to work with like the kinders or like the TK kids, like somewhere a little bit older, but maybe not like 3rd grade, but I like it around like TK or K or maybe 1st grade up to age 8, 123 A and B covers up to age 8. And again, we are developing this thing, this TK credential that, again, Dr. Sue said that a lot of teachers have to come back. You know, I have currently at least a handful of students who've been working in a preschool for 10, 20 years. And they said, you have to come back and take these classes to make sure that you're fully trained on some of the new things that are happening.
Are those classes required for childcare centers and preschools?
You can, again, I'm going to go back to here. So your 111 A and B, you can switch those out for a different age of student.
Like if you're trying to work with let's say like 3 through 5.
Yep, that would be the school age.
Oh, so I have to take those?
So right now, what's your favorite age to work with?
Probably 3 through 5.
Oh, okay. All right. So we can
I'm trying to work with preschoolers.
Okay, then stay with 111 A and B.
And 112, 121, 298A?
Yes. These are your 8 classes. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So what's after those classes then?
That's it.
Then how does that work?
Then you apply for your permit and then you get to go be an assistant teacher, and then you work in a place, and then you keep going with your education, and then you become higher and higher and higher.
What about like the certificate, do you know?
Which certificate?
To be like a preschool or Montessori teacher?
This is it right here. But we talked about it last time that Montessori has a very specific set of training that they usually train on site for that. So they are looking for these classes. And then when you get to Montessori, they will teach you more specifically Montessori things when you are employed with them.
Oh, so just focus on these classes then?
Just focus on these classes. Because
For-
here at the community college, we don't teach a style. We introduce all the different options and styles. But if you're wanting to go to Montessori and then you get hired by a Montessori, they will teach you some of their principles that they use in that particular school. So no matter where you go, you're going to get additional on-the-job training, because every place is just slightly different, you know, in the way they do things, and, you know, the way they have philosophies. And so again, we don't teach to the Montessori model, but we talk about the Montessori model.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense. So you'll know what it is. It sounds like you already know what it is, but at the same time, when you get there, they'll say, okay, well, I'm sure you learned that in your class, but here we do things just a little bit different. And it's okay. Everywhere that I've worked, I mean, like I said, I've worked at 4 different colleges. Dr. Suze works at like 12 different colleges. Everything is just a little bit different, but it uses the same foundational skills.
Just wondering, can you take 112 and 121 together?
112 and 221. Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Dr. Suze? Health safety and diversity in the same semester? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That works.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be taking 111A and B together next
Yes,
semester.
because we do teach now, all of our classes we try to do in different formats, because we know some people like it face-to-face, some people, right? But as you get further up, the format tends to be a little bit more specific. Like, so for example, we teach 7 or 8 sections of 107. So we have online, we have,
Yeah, I already took that one with
Yeah.
you.
right? But when you get, so 108 this semester is all online, right?
Mhm.
And then this is we have a 16-week and a 12-week version, right, Dr. Suze?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then next, when you take these are 8-week online. So they're
Only
fast.
8? I thought it's supposed to be like 16.
Well, okay, so you can have a 16-week class, but it gets accelerated into 8. So that's what we only suggest. Take that one. Don't take too many classes while you're taking that first 8 weeks and that second 8 weeks. But think about it this way. In one semester, you're done.
The 8-week might be better, right?
It is. These 2
So what
classes
month
really,
would that start then?
that will be in the fall.
Fall?
Mhm.
August, probably? September?
Yeah, so August. Yeah. So if you look on our regular website on scc.edu, there's going to be an academic calendar you can look for the next semesters. I don't know the exact date.
I think it's the one you showed me before in 107 class. Is that right?
Probably. Yeah, it's called the academic calendar. You can find that on our website.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's great to look a year ahead just to make sure, right?
Mhm.
And now that spring break's coming in, 2 weeks, they're going to have summer classes open. So you guys will know you can maybe take some things in the summer too, which is nice.
Don't have to, right?
You don't have to. No, summer classes are 8 weeks. And so they're
I'm just planning to take classes in the fall and spring.
yeah, that keeps it simple too. But some people
I think those might be better. So
yeah, some people, they just want to do it really quick. And so I'd say if it's not your jam to do an 8-week class, if you can avoid it, then don't. But some of these that we do set up in 8 weeks, we do that on purpose. They both work together, but it's the first 8 weeks and second 8 weeks like this.
okay.
Like this. And then health, safety, nutrition. What is your format this semester, Dr. Seuss? It's online, but is it 12 weeks or 16?
It's that one is 16.
Okay. So yeah,
yes, 16.
right. And then same with 221. Dr. Lamarelle teaches that one. She usually does it in 12 weeks, maybe 8. Right. So again, we have, like, as you go down the funnel, we have less and less sections, because you're getting higher in your skills and you'll start to know everybody in your classes, and it gets very, very specific. Good. These are good questions. Any other questions as we move forward?
Yes, I have a question.
Jump in, Erica.
Okay, so I've been so I went to SAC back from like 2009, 2011,
Okay.
transferred to Cal State Fullerton, got my liberal studies degree. And it was funny when Dr. Valdez was talking about that because I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. I went that route, but now I wish I went the child development route, back then, but you live and learn.
Right.
So I hear you talk about permits. So is that the same or is it different from like the certificates? Because I remember back then I thought you could get certificates.
Yes. So we have different types of certificates that go toward your education.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
again, the goal is your core 8 classes, so we can
Got
get you in the classroom teaching.
Yeah. Okay. Because I
So,
mean,
go ahead.
no, because I mean, I do have majority of them, back from when, I was, back in when I started my education journey out of high school.
Sure.
So I'm missing a few. So all these classes are for permits.
Yes. So
Okay.
tell us, so what's your goal, Erica? That might help.
Preschool. Okay, so at first I wanted to be an elementary school teacher, found out that that is no longer what I wanted to do. And now I love the preschool age. I'm happy there. It's what I want to do. So
See, and it's fine to like, listen, nobody's on plan A. I hear this from people and then they get mad at themselves.
yeah.
Literally, if I was mad at myself for not being on plan A, I'm on like plan Z prime. Like, I'm like so far down the plan. Plans change, life changes, like los tiempos cambian, right? Things
Yeah.
change. Like, and to be like, you can't say that when you were like 16, 17, 18, you knew exactly what you wanted. I mean, very rarely do people are they on that plan A since they were a kid. But it does happen. But for the rest of us, we figure it out as we go. And just say that you reframe it into like, I have collected extra classes to support my wisdom and my choices.
Yeah.
Right.
So these core 8 classes, they're actually to be like a preschool teacher permit, right?
That is correct. That is correct. If you want to be like a 3rd grade teacher, multiple subject teacher, that is a different credential. That's why we call ours the permit.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying? Because it's working in ECE environment, in the preschool environment, instead of working like with 3rd graders, multi-subject teachers, or even single subject teachers. Like if you wanted to be a single subject math teacher, people go, ew, who'd want to do that? Plenty of people. Or you want to be a single subject English teacher or history teacher or whatever, you're going to get a teaching credential for that age. Our stuff is for early childhood preschool teaching permit.
Okay.
Make sense? Yeah. So we have a very specific carve out because we know that the first 3 to 5 years of life are the creating the path for the entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so we're very serious about this. I share this like child development. We are the most passionate and dogmatic people. Like we are just cheerleaders constantly about this stuff because if you skip over this stuff, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's easy. It's just kids. Yes. And you skip over it, you end up coming back going, oh, maybe I should have because it really does give you a nice solid foundation. And after all, we were all kids, right? We like to say, tooting our own horn, child development makes every other major possible.
Yep.
So it's almost like, even when you meet somebody who's like really good at math and they want to do biochem and they're so great at trig and all that crazy math, there was something in their childhood that supported that or their culture that expected that. So child development, a good foundation, helps every career. So we want to make it right. We want to make it strong at the beginning. So those are the core 8. Again, if you want to work with different ages, we have these little tracks. And what this does is you would say, I have my permit to teach school age or my permit to teach.
what ages are those?
So infant toddler is 0 to 2.
Oh, if you want to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
And what's 123A and B?
So school aged is usually 5 to 8.
Oh, 5 to 8. Also, basically elementary kids.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to
okay.
get like maybe kinder, TK, first, maybe 2nd grade. Because we know that those kids are different than third, fourth, fifth grade.
Oh yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, you know, some people will
Yeah,
say,
I'm doing
I really
preschool.
want to, I had the best third grade teacher. Third grade is my jam. That's what I want to do. Let's get you in there. Right? Okay, good. So you guys were asking about certificates. So there's additional classes that you can almost like training wheel onto your core 8. Now these are optional and they do take a little bit more time. So the core 8, if you think about it, if you really jam and you take 1, 2, 3, 4 classes, you could essentially do this all in 2 years, right?
Yeah.
But I took 3, 4 years at the community college because I was just dabbling in all kinds of stuff. So we have different things like these, like specialty classes that can help you along your way. And it really depends on what is on your heart and what you love to do. So some of you have taken my special needs class and you're like, oh, I love special needs, but I don't know if I can do that 24/7 at like a preschool. Well, listen, we need you as a general ed teacher with a special needs understanding just as much as we need people who are in love with special needs. Right? So these are extra classes that just help you along your way. Dr. Valdez wrote this class some time ago and is teaching it in the summer, technology. Super exciting because we have had it for so long, but we haven't been able to offer it.
Is that a required class?
Not required, but what it does, Yuri, is it helps you
Yeah.
as you're taking your core 8 classes, it helps you understand what technology, the effects of technology or the use of technology as a teacher, how to best implement your practice, your technological practices,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's almost like I call it training wheels for your core 8. Your core 8 is the bike and you're going top speed, but your training wheels that help you augment your bicycle, to use that analogy, are these extra classes here. So these are the ones that we suggest, but you don't have to take them at all.
Like none of these are required
None of these are required.
for preschool or
None of
childcare
them.
centers?
None of them are required.
Oh, okay.
None of
Just
them.
the core classes.
Yeah. So the reason we suggest these, again, who couldn't use help in technology? Everybody, right? Technology is fantastic, especially because you've all seen kids in strollers with an iPad. What is that doing to their development? And how can teachers best utilize those things or not? Or pair with the parents in order to have the parents know that, yeah, you shouldn't be putting your 18-month-old on a iPad just because, you know, you're on TikTok all day, right? Now, also special populations, I teach this class, obviously, what it means to be a teacher with kids with unique needs, but I'm also a parent of a kid with unique needs. So I kind of give you both sides of that story, which is great because an intro into it helps you as you move forward. Because you might have a kid in your program or your class and you're like, what's going on there? I can't put my finger on it, but maybe they're behind in their language or their social skills are off, or maybe they have, you know, they're extra wiggly. Is it a problem or is it typically developed? Right. So we talk in there about the deaf community and low vision and blindness, but we also talk about things like seizures and what is an IEP? What kind of protections are in place for kids like that? Now, also, this is our next newest class here, trauma and resilience. Listen, every single class in America has children with some sort of trauma. Why? Because we all went through COVID.
Who's
Trauma-
teaching that class?
So that's it's Professor Johnson.
Oh, okay.
She's fantastic. She's so warm and inviting, and she teaches not only you as a future teacher to learn about what are the signs and signals of perhaps trauma, because a kid who witnessed domestic violence the night before is going to be distracted in class your next day, right? Or their brain is in survival mode, so it's not in learning mode. So if we're angry at our child, the student in the class, for not paying attention, maybe there's a different reason. So in that trauma and resilience lens, you get to think what else could be happening with this child instead of what's wrong with this kid. Yeah. And plus, she also talks about how to self-care as an educator. I don't know if you guys have friends who are teachers who are like stressed out and burnt out. We want to help with that too. Because if you can't put self-care in place day one, you're not going to make it. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you're not going to make it. So it's this piece where as we're providing for our children, as we're giving and giving and giving and giving, how do we support ourselves so that we can be that tool for change? It's a brilliant class. Please take that. Now, reflective practice is sort of the nature of what is it like to be a teacher, and how do I reflect on, am I being culturally responsive? Am I being low-key racist? Or do I prefer one type of student over the other? And what if maybe I'm not giving my equal attention to all my students? Is that a personal bias that I have? So reflective practice really hones in on, and again, Professor Johnson teaches this one too, so it's just great. So again, optional, but it also helps you put into place, hey, maybe as I'm moving forward to be a teacher or not, this is what I bring with me. This is how I think about things. This is how I handle things. Or what's a better way that I can look at this challenge or issue. And then independent studies for you guys. If you guys are currently working on a project, or you're working with kids and you want to like get college credits for it, this could be 1 to 3 units. All of these are 3-unit classes. This can be 1 to 3 units. It's kind of an open, you work with a teacher, like an advisor, and you guys come up with a project together. It could be something like Dr. Suze was saying earlier. How does one build an at-home childcare? If you want to put like something together like that as a long project, yeah, absolutely, you can do that.
Are you teaching 299 or?
You know what? 299 rotates. So one semester I'll teach it, one semester Professor Johnson will teach it, one semester Dr. Lamoureux will teach it. We kind of rotate that one. And it's not a full class. It's usually maybe like 3 or 4 people, and we work with you individually.
But not required?
Nope, not required. But the reason why we offer these, another reason is sometimes when you're living at home and then your parents say, well, you're on our insurance, you have to take 4 classes. That happened to me. My parents said, if you want to live here rent free, you have to take 4 classes every semester, because my insurance will only cover you if you're taking full-time classes. So we offer more classes. So you maybe could take 1 or 2 of the core 8 and then the other classes. Make sense? But not required. We put these out there to help you. Does that make sense? So before I go down to the next slide, which is about the specialized certificates, do people want to know about that? Because it can get a little bit more, it's a little bit more information. I don't want to overwhelm anyone. Who's interested in hearing about some of the certificates we have in addition to the core 8? Yes, no, maybe so?
Oh, I think I was asking you a question about that, right?
Okay, so good. Let's cover that. Because sometimes if you guys don't want to hear it, we don't need to talk about it, but here we are. So what we do is we put 3 to 5 classes together and we call it a specialized certificate. So if you took the classes that fill these up, so like, for example, I'm going to add it here. This one is 202, 203, 204. Okay. So if you took this one, if you took these 3 classes, you would then have an additional certificate in special populations. So you would say, I got my teaching permit, but I also hold a certificate in special populations. Does that make sense? So it's almost like a minor, almost.
Yeah, what about for preschool?
So preschool, we break it down into this. So trauma and resilience. This one is TBA because we're building the next 2 classes.
Which one will be for me? Do you know? Just wondering.
So language and literacy, this is new. So this is for any age, because language and literacy actually starts like before a child's born. Did you know that? So language and literacy, they were just starting it this semester. It's 212A, 212B, and 213. So I know that's big. Let me move this over. So let's do it like that. So this semester I'm teaching 212A, which is language and literacy for kids, how children build language and literacy. Then 212B is all about the curriculum and manipulatives. We make games and art to help create language-rich environments for children who are learning how to speak. And then 213 is for multi-language learners. So maybe somebody who's learning English after a primary language, or learning more than one language, in the multi-language learner. So this is we just got these approved. We're just launching those this semester. So if you took your core 8 and these 3 classes, you would say, I took all my classes for my teacher permit, but I also have a certificate in language and literacy. So it makes you like a specialist. Isn't that so cool? So then here, once you become like a leader in your environment in your school or your program, you get to take 215, 216, and 250. Now this is how administration 1, administration 2, and how to manage adults. It's adults have to learn how to manage adults. And now stream, do you guys know what STEAM is, right? Who knows what STEAM is?
Science, technology, engineering, art, and math.
Yay!
job.
Thank you, thank you, Allie. But the R, we add this here because we like the word relationships. So think about it. Even if you want to be a math teacher, or you're going to go into engineering, or you're going to be an artist, and you're going to work with kids, and you're going to do art, or you're going to be a dance teacher, you all have to build relationships. So we designed a program that includes, and I don't have the numbers right off the top of my head, but like I think 217, which is art and ECE. I'm teaching that this summer. 218, which is music. I'm teaching that this summer. And then I'm going to say 234. Don't hold me to that one. It is science, and technology and engineering and math. And our professor, Sanevanatni, is teaching that one, and she's fantastic. And so she's also the one who teaches 111A. Fantastic. She also teaches at Cal Poly Pomona. So
Who's
she's
111A again?
so 111A. You're asking who teaches that?
Mm-hmm.
Professor and soon to be Dr. Sanevanatni. I'll put it in the chat if you need to see it. Who else?
So I might be having her next semester.
Yeah, you'll have her for 111A. Yeah.
Because I'm and 111B for Professor Johnson.
Yes. So Professor
Also, I'm having them.
Sanevanatni, she's 111A. And then, so I put that in there, and then Professor Johnson. And oh, sorry, I put 11A, but it's 111B. I did it again. My goodness. All right. So that's going to be sorry, can I edit that one? Oh, we can delete what we wrote. It's interesting, but I wish I could just edit it. And then, so here's the thing. So again, you're learning all these different things that we have for you as students. So basically it's like a choose your own adventure here. We have students who come and take every single class, every single class that we offer. And it's fantastic. So they have all the information that we can possibly give you. And so then you pick your specialty as you move forward. But some people just want to collect and collect and collect and collect certificates and whatnot. So here's the certificates here. Yeah, so we have a lot of different things. The bottom line is that our philosophy here is that we are supporting what the children need, and what you need as students to then support the children, right? We don't make these classes up just because they're my favorite class.
Wait, I'm kind of confused. Like,
Okay.
does that mean I have to take these then?
No, Yuri, you only have to take the core 8, no special classes.
No, like to try to get the certificate.
It's
be
up
able
to you. So here's the deal. You don't have to make that choice right now. Just think about it. And my suggestion is to write down, earlier I said, write down the perfect thing that you would like to do as a job. Like, I want to work with kids. I want to.
That's what I'm trying to do. Probably like 3 to 5 years old.
Yeah, work with kids, but like, what kind of program do you want it to be? Do you want it to be like a Montessori, like you said? Do you want to work your way up? Do you want to,
or just a preschool teacher?
you can do whatever you want. Yeah.
So certificate is actually not required for that?
So to be a preschool teacher, you have to have your core 8 classes.
Oh, okay.
That's like it's like getting a degree.
Oh, I'm getting a degree?
Yeah, this ends up being.
Oh, after the 298A, probably.
Yes.
So these are all is this the order?
Roughly, yes. That's
Okay.
roughly the
Order
order.
of the class.
I mean, technically you could take 112 and 221 all the way up here. You could take it like right here. It just kind of depends on what you're ready for. Sometimes people do take 108 and realize it's a lot of work. And then they take a break, and then they'll go back and take 112 or 221 and then come back to 108. That's okay too.
Oh yeah, I'm actually taking 108 for a 12-week with Dr. Valdez.
Yes, absolutely. But I've had a couple people start the class and say, I'm not ready, so I'm going to take 112 or I'm going to take 221. Perfect. And then you build more college skills and then you go back to 108 and it seems more doable.
Is 112 a lot of work?
Depends.
That's also 3 units though, right?
Yeah, these are all 3 units. So Dr. Seuss, how would you answer that question? Is 112 a lot of work?
Well, I think the bottom line is every class is going to have its challenges, and sometimes there's topics like when you think of health and safety nutrition, for example, a lot of nutrition is common knowledge to, when you think about, oh, I know what a vitamin is, I know what a protein is, I know what a carb is. But then what we do is we get into the nitty gritty of how those things are utilized or beneficial or problematic to a child, right? So it just depends, it depends on your vocabulary, it depends on how much time you have. But yeah, every class that you're going to take in college is going to have some kinds of challenges, right? I personally always thought that child growth and development when I was a student was harder than any class. I've had students say principles and practices or observation and assessment is hard. So it really comes down to a lot of what your experiences are and how well of a student you are, how much time you manage your time, right?
If you're a disciplined student, a lot of these classes, might be easy for some and not so easy for others. Again, it depends on your skill set. But I see I put all these 3 units in here. Every single class is 3 units. But keep in mind that when we say 3 units, every class is supposed to have the same amount of work. They just will have different.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah, they have different topics. So maybe health, safety, nutrition is super easy for you because you're that person. You count your macros and you've always taken vitamins as a kid. So you got it, right? You know what whole wheat is versus not whole wheat. Like you got it. Or child, family, community really, really lights you up because you're like, yeah, seriously, like that makes perfect sense how our family helps develop us, right? But maybe
Yeah.
You said that way better than me.
For 298A, I think I found it was actually 3.5
Oh yeah, I'm
units.
sorry. You are correct, Yuri. And you need to be.
I
more
found it
specific.
on the course class, like choose your course classes thing. I don't know.
You are correct. You are correct. I always thought it was 3 minutes, but
Yuri,
I was like, it's 3.5.
Yuri's
rest-
gonna make sure that we are like on task.
I call her my factotum. Please make
Literally.
sure I'm doing everything right.
That's why I
100%.
kept emailing you all the time last semester.
Probably every day, right, Yuri?
And yeah, and your brain started.
I know
to
at one
stop
time I told her,
working, I
oh, my
remember.
brain's gonna explode.
You were like, OMG, where is my brain?
Yeah, I did.
You answered in my email like that?
Yeah. Did you ever know that college professors can lose their minds?
Do they actually?
Yeah, I have been known to do it. Try not to do it during the semester, maybe in the summer. But
Oh no, I'm not taking summer classes though.
right. Yeah, you might want to see me just like, off my rocker. But sometimes we have good days and bad days too, right? So sometimes I'll do something and it's just wrong. So that's why I always say, tell me so I can fix it because I want it to be right. So we're sharing a lot of information here. So let me stop for a second and throw this out there. Who has questions?
I do.
Okay, good. Allie, jump in.
Okay, so I had messaged you prior to this meeting. I just wanted to double check. You told me that I either need 111A and B or 123A and B. I just wanted to double check. Can I have either or to
You can
get
have-
my permit? Yes.
It just the
Perfect.
permit ends up being it just tells you what ages that you are best suited for, best trained for.
Gotcha.
So
And
what,
then
so what are you thinking you're also going into nursing? So what are you thinking? You're thinking pediatrics?
yes, so I'm actually wanting to do pediatrics or labor and delivery.
Oh, so
Nice.
Yes. And then
and then who knows, you could land that perfect job that you love and then be like, hey, I really want to be a child life specialist.
I know.
and go back and do your master's. Yeah.
For 123B, is that in the fall?
Yeah, I'm teaching both of those in the fall, and we do sometimes don't fill them. So that's why we kind of push them around and skip it and push it, you know. But I teach in the fall 123A and B. So if you only need the B, you would just come in the second 8 weeks.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. Who else has questions? Liz, Maddie, Andrea, Erica?
I had a question. I don't think you wrote the classes for the TK certificate. Just
So yeah, it's a nice little road bump in our
oh, okay.
in our
Okay,
state
so
right
that was
now.
on purpose.
Yeah, so our state is currently redesigning, shall we say, the TK area.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. There's a really interesting overlap happening right now between teachers, you know, like the K-12 teachers and ECE. If you really think about it, we do overlap a lot, right? If we're saying we teach you skills up to the age of 8, and age of 8 is second grade.
Mhm.
So K1, 2, 3 is a little bit of an overlap. Traditionally, the K-12 teachers say, well, that's our purview. We're in charge of that. Child development's only for just, you know, babies. And we're like, nope. So now they're sort of recognizing that we are doing a good job, but let's just say it's not super smooth sailing. And
Yeah.
so it's
Oh,
being developed. It's being
got it.
developed. So you're interested in TK or school age?
Well, I mean, I love the preschool, but like I right now, like I'm helping with the 2-year-old class. I'm an aide for a 2-year-old.
Right. So that would be preschool. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, 2 through 5, you know.
That's still preschool. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
You're good. So what you said, you only have a few classes left. Which ones are you missing?
I'm missing, well, I need to retake the health safety nutrition because I
Sure.
withdrew.
That's all right.
And then I have the 111A and B
Great. In the fall.
and the 298A. So
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
so maybe like a semester, right? Or if
Yeah,
they're
like 2 semesters. Yeah. It's fantastic. And you know what? We are also polishing up. We have a new professor teaching 298A who actually used to be a student, a professor of Dr. Valdez. So
oh,
she's
cool.
now a professor. Yeah. And so she's really, really polishing up practicum and doing a great job at it. So really excited about you guys having high quality education before you become high quality educators. Really excited about that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you guys are here. This is why we did this, because there was so much unknowns, or a lot of people had questions and they didn't know where to go. And not everybody can come to this meeting, but I do have it recorded. I can share it. And we have one meeting a semester. So a month. So people can come and ask questions. But again, you can ask questions at any time. You can reach out here. I'll put in the chat. I want to make sure that I can do that. Put it in the chat here that I'll put my email, and then here, just in case. And then if you're taking Dr. Souza's classes, you already have her email, but I could put that in there as well, if that's okay with her.
Mhm.
Okay, good.
Of course.
Of course, just wanted to ask first. And then Valdez. Making sure I spelled it correctly. Very good. And then always Professor Johnson, she is available to speak with people, even though she travels. Trust me, we talk all the time. The reason I'm putting her here, Johnson, is that she's most in charge of this next section we'll talk about. We're going to talk about actually how to get your permit at SC College. There we go. Beautiful. These are going to be the people who are like in the know and are going to be able to get back to you right away. So the next thing we're going to talk about now, again, if you have any questions, please jump in at any time. So again, we suggest that you start working with children. If you're not sure, I mean, trust me, I gave you the story of I waited too long to know that's what I really wanted to do. And when I got there, it was like, meh, I didn't want to do that. So please volunteer, take a couple classes, start working at our preschool center, start working here, right?
At SCC?
Yes. Why not? Right? Liz, you're working here, right? Is that what you said, Liz? Or no, Valerie. Valerie, you're working here at the preschool, right?
Yeah, the daycare, yeah.
Yeah, so you said that you're not super, like, it's not your perfect fit, but you're getting a lot of experience, yeah?
Yeah.
And are they still looking for a morning person?
Yeah, I'm there from 7:30 a.m. till 4 o'clock, Monday, Thursday, and Friday.
And that's amazing. Congratulations. It's a lot of
Thank you.
work.
Yeah.
Those little people can run you.
Yeah, I
Yep.
actually started as an intern,
See?
and then the director was like, "Hey, if you want when you're 18, you could come over and work here." I'm like, "Cool, okay."
So cool.
So after 107 and 110 class, you can work there?
Absolutely.
Wait,
Absolutely.
how many days do you work per week?
Well, I think she works it with your schedule, but right now Valerie said how many days?
3, right?
Yeah, 3 days.
A lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing?
You
Yeah.
know.
You're all good for now. Good for now. And that's fair because listen, how do you build job experience? You got to get out there and build job experience. Yeah, and you're one of our dual enrollment students. So you kind of got on the track a little quickly, which is fantastic. Good for you. You're doing great.
Thank you. I
Mhm.
already actually completed all my classes for the infant toddler certificate. So now I'm just completing the early education, special education one.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah,
That's awesome.
she goes to Canyon or went to Canyon. And so she got in our dual enrollment program. So she's got to jump on it. Really excited. Oh, and by the way, we are updating our dual enrollment stuff. So some of the people who are taking the classes after you are going to have a little bit different experience, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So we always suggest we start working with kids because you could say, no, I really like this type of kid, or maybe that kid is not the best for me. But again, you don't always get first pick, but you can at least say, let's say you're working in a center and there's different types and different personalities in there. You know who's really good with the boys or really good with the wiggly girls or who was really good breaking up a fight. You guys can kind of support each other and pair off when everybody goes, oh, well, Valerie's specialty is working with the older kids who have like maybe food sensitivities or something like that. And so it's one of these things that you build as you grow. So do that if you can. Maddie, jump on in. What do you want to say?
I just had a question about, I think it was the 299, the independence study. I'm currently working at an elementary school with kinder. Would that be like sufficient for that, or does it need to be like a specific project within your work?
It's both of those. The answer to that is yes. It's both of those things. It's working there and something that we can work on together. So let's connect out offline and let's figure that out together.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
know of anything that you could be working on with them?
I work in an after-school program, so we have a lot of attention-based behaviors.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
Nicely put.
So when you said the word project, I was like, well, I take kids on as projects all the time, even if they're not technically my kids.
That's right.
But yeah, I have a lot of attention-based behaviors because my kids are in from like sometimes 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. at night, and they're 5, so it's a lot for them.
I would have attention-based behaviors if that was my schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, no, me too.
Okay, so send me an email and we'll figure that out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Great question. So I did put in this new QR code that takes you right to our Child Development Training Consortium. This is the one that Myra was talking about that she's already been connected with. And if you are currently working with kids in a licensed facility, you can't be like a nanny, right? You can't be like volunteering at church, but those are good builders to build your skills. But in order to get free money, if you're currently working with kids and currently taking classes here, you are qualified for money. And we love to give free money. We love to give free money. So if you can scan the QR code, it will take you to the Child Development Training Consortium. I will also put, let me get it.
Do we all do this, or it's okay?
Yeah, you guys can. Let me get I'm going to go back to it right here.
Don't have to, right?
Go ahead. You don't have to, but this is the one. So the Child Development Training Consortium does a few different things. This is the governing body that helps you get your permit. So this is the state organization that helps you get your permit.
Permit for which one?
Your core 8, your preschool,
Oh.
your preschool teaching permit. Yeah, so you want to start getting familiar with this site, but at the same time, they do multiple things. I don't want to say they just do one thing, they don't. So I'm putting it in the chat too, in case you guys want to use that hyperlink there if you don't have a QR code scanner. So what this is,
Can you do this anytime, or does it have to be after 298?
no, you could do it anytime. That's why we're saying do it now.
Oh,
Yeah, we're saying do it now. Yeah, because, oh, I even misspelled that. Look at that, teaching. I don't know what teaching is, but I know what teaching is. If you guys see any typos, please let me know. So again, oh, wait, let's see. I put that all for waiting room. Let's see. We don't want to do that. Here, let's do this. Yeah, can you see the hyperlink in the chat?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome, 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 awesome. I'm also going to see if I can get these back in there. Yay. Okay, cool. Because I was typing to the waiting room participants, but there's no waiting room participants right now. Yay. Okay, good. So what I'm suggesting, and I'm going to click over to that right now too, is that, let me make my screen bigger. So what it's called is the Child Development Training Consortium. And the word consortium is a clue. Consortium means a group of people. And in this case, it's a group of educators and administrators that are connected in order to support people who want to go into preschool teaching or support roles. So we all get, well, actually I should have Dr. Seuss talk about it. She was at the beginning of all this business, how everybody said, wait, we're all doing different jobs and we're all trying to do the same thing. Let's get it together. So Dr. Seuss, can I lob this one over to you?
So, the thing is that we want to make sure, you want me to focus on the permit or the way that our courses, the reason for the courses?
No, can you just give them like a couple sentences on why CDTC? How does CDTC come together and what it is, real quick?
So CDTC has been around a long time, but basically we want to make sure that we have something that helps us define what quality is for early childhood. And we wanted to have a statewide organization that would just like bring that all together. So we didn't have a credential program for a long time. So the Child Development Training Consortium said, like, how do we make sure that early childhood educators aren't just getting their 12 units and then they stop? Like, how do we make sure that they keep on taking classes? Because this is the most important time in a human being's life. And we want to make sure that people just don't get those 12 units and then they just stop. And we have like what we would call babysitters or, childcare workers. So they created the stipend so that they would be basically the beginnings of pushing people to continue to become these early childhood professionals. And I always tell students, even when you start taking the first few classes, when people say, what is your profession or what are you planning to do? You can say, I'm a pre-service, because pre-service means I'm not in the business yet, but I'm in the beginning, I'm training. I'm a pre-service early childhood professional. And instead of, I want to be a preschool childcare worker, or I want to take care of kids, right? Because we can say that's very common. That's what we did when we were 15 years old.
Right.
But early childhood is a professional career focused on helping children, have optimal development and prepare them for kindergarten. So this stipend, these stipends, well, first there's two things. One, the permit is a track to help you become that early childhood professional. And so there's a matrix that you follow, and you can become an associate teacher, and you can become a teacher and a master teacher and a site supervisor. But then we have these stipends. And if your track is, I want to be in early childhood, the stipend will actually pay for all of your education. So if there's a piece of you that says like, hey, I want to get a certificate or I want to get an AA in child development, well, we have money. There's money that will help support in paying you to do those things. and especially help you if you are working currently in a classroom. So I always encourage students, once you take 6 units of early childhood, start going to a preschool if you can, and put your foot in the door and see if you can get a position in a classroom, even if it's part-time. That way you can say, I'm working in early childhood, and then you'll be able to apply for that stipend, and it will pay for everything, your English classes, your biology classes. As long as you are currently working in a preschool, you will have everything paid at the community college.
Even if you're on the Promise Grant or getting a bog waiver or anything like that,
Yeah,
this
they'll
still,
give you cash.
and
Yeah, so if you got
can spend it
financial
on
aid,
gas.
doesn't matter.
Uh-uh. Who couldn't use extra couple $100?
Yeah,
Why don't you guys
for
apply
sure.
for it and then just give me your money? It's like,
Mhm.
can't apply for it. So what we're saying is like, get comfortable with this website now, but I don't want to go
For
too far
sure.
down the rabbit hole because it can be a lot. But at the same time, this is where I'm going to put a call to action for everybody here. I want you all sometime this week, maybe tonight or even tomorrow, message one of your professors and say, hey, I went to the permit, I mean the monthly majors meeting, and I have some questions. Can you answer those for me? I want you to make a direct communication with one of your professors and see if they can help. Because again, I'm here for it. We're all such a great team. And most of us has been through this process. So this piece of learning from the people who already know is here. And again, we typically only go till 8 o'clock at night. And so we can go over a little bit, but I want to be respectful of your time. If you guys need to go, you're welcome to go. I will have this recorded. I can share you the recording with you if you want to review the information. But the bottom line is, go over to this website, get comfortable with it, starting here. So this tells you right here, it tells you which classes that you want to take. We already talked about this, but there's applications here. You can look at the resources, the matrices that Dr. Seuss talked about here. They're down here. There's forms in Espanol, Alejandra, right? So that might help
Mhm.
people if you're not certain. This is a lot of information. And then it tells you what the next steps are. But for right now, this is just an intro. So start poking around. I always like going down here. Poke, 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 poke. Click everything. Click everything.
Yeah.
And get comfortable. Yeah. And remember how we said we align all our courses? This is where I would go to look at my worksheets to align all my courses. Yeah. So, I mean, it has resources here for me too. So get comfortable with this. And if it says create a login, create a login. It just is kind of like, this is how you get your career started. It just starts a little
Mhm.
bit at a time, and then you launch after you take all your 8 classes. What? It's a lot. Who has questions on this?
Do you require us to do this right now?
Well, this part, you don't have to do it right this second, but you are welcome to get comfortable with it, Yuri. I encourage you to poke around and just look in there. Look and see what they have. And then we can take the next step.
Okay, so basically I can do this anytime too, right?
Anytime. But since
After
you're
the
taking
8
your second
classes, maybe?
class, you're taking your second and third class, now's the perfect time.
Since last semester, I just took 107 with you,
Yeah,
and
you
now
took
I'm
107,
two
now you're taking
classes.
110 and 108. So now that you're
Mhm.
in the mix, you are definitely an ECE student, you're a child development student, start here. Alejandra, jump in. Question?
Hi, Professor Laney. It's nice to see you.
Good to see your beautiful smile. How are your boys?
Good, good. Diego was feeling a little bit sick, but I told him, hey, Miss Laney's here. And he was
The one
like,
with all the
he
toys.
wanted to reach, but he fell asleep.
Oh,
Just to go over what we seen and what I understood. So I started this path wanting to get a certificate, just as you guys mentioned. Now I was just trying to get my 12-unit course to be an assistant for teacher, but now that I am in the path, I'm like, I got into to choose a major. So I choose my major that it's in early childhood education. And I was like, oh my God, what did I get into? But now, but now that you're explaining, I'm like, okay. Okay. I
take a
think
breath. Take a
I
breath.
think I'm in the yes. Uh-huh. I'm still like, oh yeah. But I know I could do it. I'm just like, it's the time
okay.
and my energy for now, right?
That's why we introduce it early, so you're not rushing at the end.
Yeah, that's good. That's I'm
Because-
getting more familiar with it. So
Right.
to be a teacher, to work as a teacher, the 8 unit course is all I need for
Core 8
preschool.
classes. You do not have to take any more than that.
Okay, perfect. That's one. And the page that you are suggesting to us to look up is an extra, like for the classes that we are taking to get paid. Is that what you're trying
So
to
there's two things. There's two things. Number one, that website, this is the people who give out the actual permit.
Okay.
So this is like the licensing body. This is like the
Okay.
people who say, okay, I see your transcripts because you're going to put in this application. You're going to show them all the classes that you took. And then they say, here is your teaching permit. It is issued by the state of California. It is not
Oh,
issued by SCC,
okay.
right? So you take all your classes at SCC and then you prove to them that you're done, and then they give you your permit.
Oh, okay. So like you said, I could dig on the page on the
Yeah,
website.
look around. And
I
then
still
what
have-
Dr. Suze was saying is that it does cost money to apply for a permit. Every teacher who has, even like Allie is going to be an RN or whatever, BSN or whatever, you have to pay money to keep your license going. But the stipend is money to help you pay for that. So you're not out of pocket. So we're trying to take all the barriers away from you becoming a teacher. And a lot of people say, well, I don't have $100 to get fingerprinted. Well, that's fine. We will reimburse that.
Okay.
See?
Okay.
Yeah. So we're trying to get you guys all the things that you need, including free books and free money to move forward in your career.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we very regularly as educators look at, especially the community college, because we are supposed to be a reflection of the community, right? We are funded by tax dollars. We clearly and consistently say, what are the barriers to success for our students and how do we lower those barriers? Sometimes we can't take them away 100%, or sometimes the stipend money comes to you and it doesn't cover everything, but mostly, right? We try to lower those barriers as much as possible, right? Because we don't want anybody to, we don't want to have good students and strong teachers who just say, I can't really afford it. Let's help you with that. Let's help you
Right.
fix that. We don't want any more roadblocks to your success at all. Does that make sense? So yeah, this website does lots of things, but for you, it does two separate things. It supports you with money to pay for some of the expenses that it takes to get your permit. While you're taking all your 8 classes, this website is helping you with those two things.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, Allie.
For the child development permit level, would it be considered assistant, correct?
Yes. So typically, Dr. Seuss, can I lob this one over to you? I can pull up the matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Allie,
I'm letting you lead, so I'm like double
no, it's
here.
okay. No, I think it's
Okay.
great.
What was the, tell me again the question.
He wants to say,
Oh.
Allie's asking if the permit, go ahead.
Yeah, so the child development permit level, when we click, do we click on assistant?
That's a good question.
When you click, do you click on assist? You mean, should you be attempting the assistant first?
Yes, because
Okay.
there's different options that we
Right.
have to like click on, and I just wanted to double check if it was for the assistant.
Okay. So here's the thing. They have an assistant option, right? For 6 units. And typically that is the child development course and the child family and community course. Because if you look at Title 22, our regulations, you need those 2 classes in order to be an assistant in a private setting. Okay. So just to even put your foot in the door in a private setting, you would have to have those 2 classes. The bottom line is that if you are applying for an assistant with 6 unit 6 units in a private setting, private schools often don't even use the permit. The permit is about 80% of permit use of the permit is in state programs and in federal programs. Like if you're working in a school district in an early childhood program, or if you're working at Head Start, which is a federal program. Does that make sense? So in a private preschool, a lot of them don't use this permit right now. So most faculty are going to encourage you to just skip right past it for 2 reasons. One, if you're getting 6 units, soon enough, you're about to have 12 units. And by the time you go to apply for the 6-unit assistant position and you go through that whole process of doing your fingerprint and sending it in and getting all the paperwork in, you're going to have it all in and they're going to say, congratulations, here is your assistant permit. And you're going to go, crap, I already finished 6 more units. Now I need to turn around and apply for the associate teacher permit. And guess what? You're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So we don't want you to do that. We don't want you to have to pay twice. So I always encourage students to go ahead and knock out that associate teacher permit, the 12 units, including the core courses, and try to achieve that as quickly as possible. And the way to do that is to get those 6 units and then start volunteering or get a position in a private program as soon as possible so that you can get those 50 days of experience plus 3 hours per day within 2 years. Because if you're going to go work in a state or federal program, they're not going to hire you with this anyway. So it's almost like it's useless, to be 100% honest. So you really, really want to go for this associate teacher level first. And again, you need 50 days of experience at 3 hours each day. So not to mix that up with, oh, so I need 150 hours. So I'll just go work for 3 weeks and knock those out and do like 9-hour days. Well, guess what? Someone tried that. And that's why they had to edit this, because we don't want you to just do it fast. We want you to have the experience over time of seeing children develop. And we want you to see how the classroom is shaped and how the schedule is run and how the teacher works with individual children over time, right? So this is a part of that. Now, if you, let's say one of you, I think, said you have a degree already or an associate degree already. Let's say you already have an associate degree. Well, we don't have a credential program right now, not quite yet. This is an old CDA credential, but it's not in effect. So this is not even available. But if you already had a degree, let's say in ECE or CD, then you can come here. If you have a bachelor's degree, but it's not in child development, I think, did one of you say that you did?
I know that there's people working towards it.
I think it was Erica. Was
Yes.
it Eric or
Yes,
was
I
it
have
Eric?
a bachelor's in liberal studies from Cal State.
Right. Okay. So see, oh my gosh, it's so funny that you
The
brought up my
the exact example, yeah.
So here you have a bachelor's. So all you need is that 12 units that we're asking for right here, plus the supervised field experience class, the practicum. And if you get that, you get to leap over to being a master teacher. Whereas someone who doesn't have a bachelor's degree has to come over here and get the 24 units of ECE, plus 6 units of special ed, plus do the 2 adult supervision classes and do 350 days of experience in the field. Now you're going to have this lucky day for you, Erica, right now, but this is going to change in about a year and a half because
do it now.
yes, because like the thing is, we see people with bachelor's degrees, someone like you got your liberal studies, you're probably already working a little bit. But a lot of people aren't, and they come in with a different bachelor's degree and they get their 12 units and then they start being a master teacher and they're terrible because they don't have a lot of experience. So this route is the ideal, right? So what you want to do is think about this for a second. How many weeks are in a year? Anyone? Come on, Yuri. I was expecting that from you. How many weeks are in a year? 52, that's right. So 52, and if you take off 2 for holidays, there's 50 weeks, let's say, in a year. If you're going to do 50 days, okay, if you were to do 1 day a week of volunteering, it would take you a year, right? Does that make sense? So if you want to get this 50 days of experience and you want to do it fast, then you would need to volunteer like 2 days a week, and that would get you a half a year, or 3 days a week, and then you could knock it out in a few months, right? So, or you actually get a job in the field as an assistant with 12 units, and or you're working in a private preschool, because remember, the private preschools don't use this permit. So you could actually be in the classroom working, and you'll get those 3 hours every day, and you're being paid, and you're adding these hours up. So you can volunteer or you can get paid to do this. Does that answer your question?
It's a lot, but that's why we start you guys off slow and very purposeful and intentional. So you are not repeating yourself. You're not spending extra time. You're going to go in. And again, Erica, you can just say, I learned all this stuff, so now I'm on my correct track. And you, yeah, reframe it. It's all about reframing, right? And Madison, you can jump in anytime. But again, don't ever get so hard on yourself. Just reframe it into the next goal. And you're great.
And I'm just going to say, I'll just add, because something that I've become pretty passionate about, and over the pandemic, I got a financial certificate and real estate license, because, you know, that just seemed like a fun thing to do. But, but one of the reasons why, guys, is I have a really dear friend who worked as a preschool teacher in the private sector for 30 plus years. She's an amazing human being. She's now 71 years old, and her Social Security, okay, now remember, she worked almost 40 years, 30 something years. Her Social Security taps out about $1,100 a month. Okay. Now, how many of you could live off of $1,100 a month? Anyone?
No.
No, right? $1,100 a month sounds impossible, right? And that's because of her time. Of course, she started 35 something years ago, right? And she had this amazing place during the pandemic in Huntington Beach, with 3 other people. She rented a house. It was an amazing little location. She could walk right down to the water. She had all her plants out inside the front of the house. And the guy sold the house, and the guy who bought the house decided he's going to tear it down and rebuild this apartment thing there, and booted them out of the house. And all of a sudden, you know, this person who's been living in this home right there at the beach her whole life, paying a very small rent and sharing it with 3 other people, had to find a new place in Orange County with her $1,100 a month. Okay. Needless to say, after dedicating her entire life to this field in Orange County, she's now living in Washington, renting a room for $400 a month so that she can survive. And, you know, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that early childhood pays well in the private sector, because we know it doesn't, right? I want all of you in here, because it looks like you're all women in this room right now, to thrive. I want you to have a successful career where when you retire, you're not retiring and going, I'm counting on my partner's retirement, or I'm counting on somebody else's pension. I want you to have your own pension plan. I want you to have your own success story, and never fear being in a financial situation that would cause you to not have a home. Okay. And so, you know, I think working in a private preschool is really good experience when you first start off. But ultimately, I want to see every one of our students at SCC get into a state preschool or a federal program where you are earning 60 to 70 grand a year plus a pension plus benefits. That's what I want for you. Does that make sense? Okay. And in doing that, that means you got to keep going. You don't want to stop and go, you know, hey, this is what it is. Now, hey, if money's in not a important factor and you got it coming out of the Zuzu, which, you know, awesome. I'm really happy for you because I do have a couple of students who said money's not a worry for me. I'm doing this because I love kids and I just want to have a position where I can make a difference. Awesome. Then go by all means. I have I've known a colleague who has been an associate teacher in a state preschool for like 10 years and she loves it and she stopped right here. Awesome. But if that is something of importance to you, I want you to keep going. I want you to get that teacher or master teacher and get that bachelor's degree so that you can make a good amount of money and not have to worry on the day-to-day about how to survive or have to get a second job. And it's not me telling you that out of making you afraid or anything like that. It's about how it's the same thing about what those two students I told you about who got those specific jobs. We can dream, but that dream needs a plan, right? And once we put that into plan and emotion, then you're good to go, right? But we got to actually make that plan. Otherwise, sometimes we say, well, I'll worry about that later. That makes life a little more challenging. Okay.
Right. The future is now, and it's okay to not have it all mapped out, but to start thinking
Right.
of your options and be smart in your plan because we never get the time back ever.
That's right.
I'll call it's being realistic.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah, it is.
I think we're all here because we love this field, and well, in my case, right? But thanks to Dr. Valdez for being realistic, and yes, we want to work, but we want to
Yeah.
have
We don't
good
want you
income
just
for our
yeah.
families, right? For our future.
We don't want you just living. We don't want you surviving. We want you thriving.
Yes.
That's right.
Bringing your A game to these kids because guess what? We can't give and 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 get nothing back.
Yeah.
And that's the nature of teaching a lot of times. It seems like we're giving everything, but we need to find the balance and also take care of ourselves and our family. It's okay to want both of those things. That's what we mean by having quality education and quality educators. People who are living a sustainable life and not being like, well, I'm just going to be a doormat, but I love these kids. No, we need to have balance. And that's why we appreciate Dr. Valdez because she brings a lot of that with her, a lot of expertise and a lot of realism and a lot of balance.
That's right. And I really want to see you guys thrive. I really do. I fear, especially those of you who are under 30, you know, as California shapes in the future, and I would love to do this workshop for SCC at some point, but to talk about it as young women and early childhood professionals, because California is shaping, and you guys know it's not cheap to live here. But I want to live here, right? I never want to leave California.
No.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
So I want you to thrive, but we also know that as we get closer to 2030, like the year 2030, they're saying that like 60 grand is going to be 65,000 a year is going to be poverty, right? So $25 an hour is 50 grand. And we don't make that in early childhood. So where are we going to be? And it shouldn't be like this, you guys. And we're still fighting to change it. We really are. And we're going to see that as the credential program erupts in the next 2 years. So that's another reason to keep going, because when that credential program comes about, you guys are going to have the exact classes that are going to be the prerequisites to that credential program. And when it happens, you're going to just like walk right in, and a lot of other people are going to be like, oh, I need this. And you're going to be like, I got that because I did everything I was supposed to at SCC.
Right. So
Uh,
basically things are changing, but you guys are in a great place for those
Yep.
changes. You guys are like ahead of the curve. Like you're ahead of
Exactly.
the changes, and it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. So really excited
And
to have this for you.
if you came tonight uh explicitly for extra credit, uh okay. But if you came tonight because part of you was like, I want the extra credit, but honestly, I want to know, and you came, just look at how many of you came tonight. You're already making really important steps
Mhm.
in your future, because
Mhm.
the best way to do something really important for yourself as a professional is to be proactive,
Yep.
and you're
Absolutely.
doing it.
Yeah.
So I applaud each of you.
Super. I'm just so proud to be part of all of this. It's like, again, I told you my route was very curly Q to get here. But even as a therapist, I realized every single challenge that a client brought me, adult or adolescent or child, could be changed with a quality education and a quality framework for their first 5 years. So better parenting and better education, and we won't have as many problems. I was just tired of doing the same thing over and over again. I'm like, I need to get to the root of the issue, and it's this. You guys are the agents of change. You guys are the catalysts for good. Tomorrow is a better place because you guys are making it a better place already. Just doing this. Yeah, and just being here. So that's why I love being around you guys. So it's so motivating for me. So thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay, so any more questions as we go? I mean, we went a little bit long tonight, but I love it. I'm here for it. So
Yes, what I wanted to add is, thank you for clarifying the permit types, because I did fill out the application, and even though I haven't sent in the paperwork, I had applied for the very first one,
good. So
the
go back.
assistant one. So this meeting will allow me to go back and change that
Yeah,
application.
you're so close, Myra. You're like so close.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
if
I
you
just
only
applied,
have,
but
you already submitted.
I filled out the application, and they requested my transcripts. But I do have more credits. I applied for the six credit one, but I have more credits already. So
See,
it was
look,
important to, yes, so I can actually go back and edit it and request the associate teacher one.
Awesome.
yeah, perfect. That's what you should do. And are you
Yeah.
working in the field already?
Yes, I am a childcare provider. I have a
Okay.
childcare license, and I run a family home daycare.
So Myra, how many years have you been doing that?
I've been doing it for a really long time here in Buena Park since 2014.
Nice.
So
Okay,
it's going to
so
be 10
you
years now.
actually might, I know you're applying for the associate teacher, but if you're going to keep going, since you already have all those hours, you might even, because you don't really need the permit, right? Are you quitting your job, or you're just doing it for you?
I'm just doing it for me.
Okay.
Eventually, my goal is to open a center. That's my goal. That's it's still far away for me to be a director, but that's my goal eventually.
Did
And
you
that's why I
apply
wanted
for the family childcare grants to upgrade your house?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
Ooh,
so
you guys
see,
did
that's
not
gonna
have that
be
applied.
that's gonna be another thing, Myra. Like, you want to keep taking those units, because so you might consider just continuing to take those units before you hit submit to your application, because if you do 12 more, you already have all the hours because you've been working. And so just something to think about. You're only going to need the 24 units. You're going to go fast. But once you get that permit, there's a lot.
Yes, I
there.
took 12 units last fall, and I'm taking 12 units in spring.
Okay. Yeah, you might want to just
So
get those all done, and just pull your application and say, can you please cancel my application because I want to finish these first.
right.
Just something to think about, because you already have all the hours, you have the
Yes.
verification, and then once you apply, there are a ton of I just helped 3 family childcare owners apply for big grants. One of them got like $80,000. She replaced her fence. Another one built a whole play yard in her backyard. All money, free money.
Free.
And where did they apply for this?
They're the state has a whole site, but once you get your education and you start becoming more involved, you could become a mentor, be part of the mentor program, be part of, those are all ways. So a lot of family childcare providers don't know about this stuff, but there's a lot of money out there.
And
We can
also,
talk.
don't ever forget that once you guys get your master's degree, you can come here and be a teacher. You could be a college professor. People are like, wait, what? Well, how do you think we started? We weren't born with the master's or a PhD. We worked forward and then we got these. So we need people with a foundation in child development to then be teachers. I can't teach forever. I'm not going to, I'm only.
Professor Yuri Kim coming to you.
I know. Yuri's like, I got it. I got the rules. I got it.
Oh,
Figured
wait,
out.
what happened?
We're
What
saying
happened?
that you're going to be a great professor someday.
For
Oh
which
my
one?
Lord.
For my school, you can have my
Oh
job when I
Lord.
retire. Okay, so thank you so much, ladies. I really love being in your orbit. And
I have a quick question.
yes, jump in.
About the work hours. Okay, so my plan is to hopefully next fall I start working. My goal is to work in the district as Dr. Valdez recommends. Do I have to work in the field of preschool, or can it be any type of because I've looked and on their jobs website for the districts
Yes.
of Orange and Santa Ana, and there's a lot of jobs, but they're not specific in preschool. So
Yeah, it does.
do I have
has
to, like, it has to be preschool in
It
my
has to
area?
be preschool. It has to be in a licensed under Title 22. It has to be a licensed preschool or after school program. There is a permit for the after school programs. But it does have to be, they are now also allowing, I believe, transitional kindergarten, but I can check for you. I heard that they were passing that they were going to count the hours in transitional kindergarten, but I'm not quite sure. So check back with me, Alejandra, and I'll check on that.
I sure will,
Um,
because I'm starting like to make my list for my future jobs. Not
Yeah, I
away.
understand.
And yes, so I just want to make sure I get in the right. I start with
Right.
the right field to work, and then
Right.
it's add ups to my my course, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll get in contact with you.
So always
Yeah.
remember, like on this matrix, it says ECE. So you have to do your work in the field you have to work in early childhood.
Early child. Okay. Okay.
You guys, so most of you are in my class because I invited you tonight, but there's my cell. And if you want to put it in your phone, I always tell people actually put it in your phone and then text me with your first name and last name. And I'll put your contact in my phone because I put everyone's contact in my phone. And then I always tell you, please send me a picture of yourself because I'm a very visual person and I like to have a face with a name. And I promise you could text me 3 years from now and I've actually had students test me on this and they'll say, do you know who this is? And I'll be like, yeah, this is Erica Lozano.
Mhm.
And they're like, no way, how did you know? I don't make this stuff up.
Right. And so we love hearing back from you guys at any point starting now. So be in contact. We're here for it. Yeah.
Thank you.
We want you guys all to be out there and help all those kids because we can't do it. We're here to help you so you can do it.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. It was so great to hear from you, Allie and Madison and Erica and Liz and Yuri and Valerie and Myra. Oh gosh, you guys are, I love it. You guys are on the track. Myra, you're so close. So excited for you. So let us know if you have anything and I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much for coming. And again, just check out that website, poke around, get comfortable, ask us questions. We're here for it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon.
Oh yeah, I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
see you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye. Thanks.